Gary, thanks for joining me on Series 2 of City Strolls, our first guest.
Series 2?
Yeah,
two.
You have. Very close to your third anniversary as manager of Exeter City, so we thought now would be a great time to tell the story of your career and what led you to Exeter, which is going to be interesting. So I guess to start off with, how did you know football was for you growing up? Like, what were your first experiences?
How did I know it was for me? My dad really was a junior player, so like non-league, got some money for it. I used to remember when he won, we would get a Chinese for dinner on a Saturday night, or some kind of takeaway on a Saturday night. But yeah, he got me into football. Obviously, I had an older brother as well who played football. So we were a year and a half in terms of kind of age difference, and that meant that we could, play in the park together, play out the back together. And yeah, from pretty much the moment I could walk, I think football was our family's kind of life, and has been for 43 years since.
So your parents played the biggest, role in you getting to where you are today, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. My mum and dad, fantastic parents, amazing grandparents. They took us everywhere. Me and my brother would go to training on a Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night. They were going, one would take me, one would take my brother, or we'd both be at the same club occasionally. My wee sister came along when I was 7, and she had to get dragged along to football as well. So really thankful for what they did for me, for my brother. And yeah, it was, like I said, football was our life and our family from that young age, but it has been because obviously the careers that me and my brother had, they've been all over the world watching football. My brother finished in Toronto, but so many places in between, and I'm now in Exeter, so yeah, they've been all over following us.
And who was the team for you growing up as a young boy in Scotland? Was it Celtic back then?
It was Celtic, yeah, back then. Not many people know this, I'll let you a secret. I went and supported Aberdeen for a couple of years. I think they had a nice strip back in the day, and I went to support Aberdeen for a bit. Well, I say support them, I liked them, I didn't ever really go to games. But Celtic was always in my family. My mum's side of the family, huge Celtic supporters. And when I played for them, that was an amazing thing for that side of the family. They used to go in supporters' buses and watch games. But my dad was never really he wasn't a kind of club supporter, he was more a supporter of football, and I think that was a really good thing, that me or my brother, although we were kind of Celtic supporters, we weren't fanatical. He didn't take us to the game every week. He made us watch other football and other football teams as well, and I think that was a good thing growing up.
I believe you started your youth career at Celtic Boys Club before making the move over to England with your brother. What was that period like?
Yeah, I played for loads of different clubs as a kind of young player, and then the main club I played for was a team. The North Bromwich Colts was kind of the first team I played for, who were a team in Larbert, which was about 10-15 minutes away from Stirling, where I grew up. And from there, they actually changed, or they kind of. The manager left there, and we then had to set up a new team, and my uncle actually set up the same team he took to Bannockburn, which was only much closer to Stirling, but the same team moved to there, so I played with them, and then as I got older I played with loads of different teams in Scotland, and started coming down to England probably at 15, 16, travelling to, I remember going to Aston Villa, to Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, and then Newcastle. And ultimately, as I kind of got older and was leaving school, my choice was between Liverpool or Newcastle, what team I wanted to go to, and join the academy there. And with my brother already being at Newcastle, I felt like Newcastle was the best place for me. There was a huge Scottish connection. Kenny Dalglish was the manager, Tommy Craig was the reserve coach, Alan Irvine the youth team coach. So I went to Newcastle and started my career there.
And that was when they're in the Premier League or Premiership at that time. I think that was one of their successful periods, wasn't it? Finished 4th around the time that you were there and made Champions League and that. So how difficult was it as a young player to kind of try and be noticed in those kind of days?
Well, very, because I didn't play for them, Scott, so thanks for reminding me of that. Yeah, it was really difficult. It was an amazing. After Kenny Dalglish, Ruud Gullit came in, and then it was when Bobby Robson came back that the team started really kind of progressing again. Before I had got there was the Kevin Keegan era, which was amazing for the club, and there was a real hype around the club in that period. But yeah, when Bobby Robson came in, it was probably when I was kind of getting a bit older and trying to push for first team. And I actually tell this story to a lot of the young players who come into my office. I had to go and chat Bobby Robson's door, which they kind of look at me and they actually say, "Who's Bobby Robson?" I say, "You need to go and find out who Bobby Robson is. He's probably the greatest English manager of all time, or one of the greatest." And I had to go and chat his door at 17 and say, you know, why am I not playing? What do I need to do to get in the team? And he absolutely destroyed me for about 3 minutes of all the things I couldn't do. He says, you need to be quicker, you need to be stronger, your left foot needs to be better, you need to turn quicker, just everything. And it was brilliant because he was right. I needed to get better at so many things, and I left his office and worked on those things. But at that point I said, can I go on loan to try and get better at those things? And so when I eventually left Newcastle, I had over 100 league games, having played on loan at various different clubs, north and south of the border, which I think was a really good thing and helped me in my career.
In 2002 you had that honour of representing your country for the first time as well. I guess that must be, you know, at senior level, that must have been a huge moment for you.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was, you know, one of the reasons for going to Scotland was to get some, to be back home and to try and progress my Scotland career and kind of get that opportunity so young was amazing. My debut not so amazing against France.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention the score.
In Paris, a 5-0 hammering, which again, I've always felt like there's been moments in my career that I've really kind of opened my eyes to what the level looks like at the very top, and for me you either hide from that or you try and rise to that and do something about it. And I've always been someone that took those failures quite well, as hard as they are at the time. I knew they were things that I needed to then progress and develop my career. So yeah, playing for Scotland was always a real highlight for me. It was something I was really proud of, and to play as many times as I did was a massive thing for me in my career.
You headed back to Scotland, joining Hibs in 2004 on a permanent deal. Made 88 appearances there. How did you find, because that's the first time probably in your career that you'd had that, like, you know, permanent spell and you've been playing consistently. Did you feel like you had a home there?
Yeah, I think it was important. I went on loan to Hibs. They were one of my loan clubs that I went to from Newcastle, and when I went back there the second time, it was Tony Mowbray was the manager, who was a young up and coming manager and wanted to play a certain way, which I thought really kind of helped my game. He was a really brilliant coach. He was kind of innovative at the time in the way he wanted to play, and we were a really good young team. So I think that was a massive part of my career, that I was always fortunate that I ended up at places with good people who wanted to play a style of football that I think really suited my game.
And as a young Celtic fan, a real special moment happened for you in 2006 when you made that move to Celtic. There for 4 years, won 2 league championships and a Scottish Cup as well. What are your fond memories of your time at Celtic?
Yeah, I loved playing for Celtic. It was an experience that I think to live it for anyone is incredible. For obviously a Celtic supporter as a kid, and have the Champions League nights, the games against Rangers, to win trophies, and to just feel what the demands of a big club felt like was huge for me. I had a brilliant manager in Gordon Strachan, who I think took my game to the next level at that point, where he pushed me physically, mentally to the very, very limits, and showed, I think he showed everyone what their full potential was. I think everyone needs that type of person in their life that can see something in you, that if you work hard, if you keep pushing, and with the support that he gave you, then you can achieve things. And he was amazing at doing that. But just the sheer intensity of the football club, the demands, I always say to the players sometimes when we have a meeting, Gordon Strachan used to have meetings and start it by saying, this isn't a crisis meeting. But what that meant was it was, and it was normally after we drew a game or lost one game, and it just showed the size of the club and the need to win every single game. So fortunately we didn't have too many crisis meetings because we were really successful in that period, and it was a brilliant team to be a part of.
Is it fair to say at times you maybe had some ups and downs with the Celtic fans as well, and sometimes they could be a bit critical of you? Very passionate fan base as well. How did you deal with that as a person?
I always have ups and downs with fans, Scott. I seem to find them. Look, I played loads of games at right back in a period where we had a lot of injuries, and I don't think I was a great centre half. Never mind a good right back. So that was understandable that the criticism fell at me. Again, I had a manager who supported me in that period and was amazing at giving me the confidence and belief to keep going and doing something for the team. But yeah, with the supporters, I always felt like supporters are going to be critical. They're that's why they pay their money, and ultimately it's my job to win them games and to do the best I can. And in that period, I felt like I won them round by keep working hard, keep doing well, and ultimately winning games and winning trophies is what turns them round. But I think those experiences, well, I've said it a few times since I've been here and at other clubs, those experiences are what make you stronger, and you understand that what you need to do as a person to get through them. And I'm thankful of all the experiences I've had in my life, good and bad, to get me to this point.
Something that we were reminded of, I think even last week or this week, it was in 2006 that you obviously scored that iconic goal for Scotland against France in a 1-0 win. I mean, where does that rank in terms of achievements in your career?
Yeah, that would be, in terms of personal highlight, would be right up there. To play for your country is incredible. To win games for your country, incredible. But to score the winner at Hampden against a team I'd obviously played in my debut and lost heavily. A lot of the players that played against us that night were playing in my debut as well. So it was good to kind of get some revenge against them. And yeah, it was an amazing game. It was a night game. I remember it was like a 5:30 kick-off on a Saturday night. So as you can imagine, Scotland was very joyous at that time, having been in the pubs all day, and the atmosphere in the stadium, the whole occasion was amazing. And yeah, it's not, at the time you probably don't think of it for what it actually is, and it's not until you kind of finish and look back and appreciate just how big those moments were. You
got to experience something quite unique in your playing career with Scotland, and that you played alongside your brother Stephen 5 times as well. That must have been a special moment for yourself, but and especially your family. Yeah, the problem was we never played very well in those games. I think I got sent off in one. We drew, I think it was Moldova. We drew away in Moldova. So yeah, I think there was almost such, when we played, we were so kind of happy and so wanted it to work and do well and play more, that we probably tried a little bit too hard. I always say I was sent off because I was covering for him, so that was the reason. But they were still really special moments to be able to, for both brothers to have a career in football is pretty unique and special. But to have the opportunity to play for our country together, to play in the Premier League together, was really special moments. And after 4 years at Celtic, you made the move back to England again, joining Wigan Athletic, signing in the Premier League as well. You spent 4 seasons there, I think, did you? And made over 100 appearances, made captain in 2010-11 season, and was player of the season that season as well. So a lot of positives to take from your time there. Yeah, I would have stayed at Celtic my whole career. I loved the club and I loved like I said, the size of it, the intensity, the demands was amazing. Champions League was a great test, but I always felt like I wanted to play in the Premier League. I wanted to be tested week in, week out against the best players, and when the opportunity came to go to Wigan, then I felt it was something I had to try in my career, and I was really glad I did that. Again, I worked with an amazing manager, amazing coach, Roberto Martinez, who tactically was another level to what I'd seen previously, and showed me, not just as a footballer, but for
the potential of the career I wanted to go into next, the level you needed to be a coach, and how football was evolving in a way of the tactics and the coaching that Roberto had was really good for me as well.
And obviously lifted the FA Cup whilst you were at Wigan. You weren't involved in the game when you won it, but again, that must be a highlight to have been involved in that campaign.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was a big disappointment not to play a lot that season because of injuries, and I didn't play in any round. I was on the bench in the semi and the final, and I say it all the time now, and I know players look at me and go, oh, here he goes again, starters and finishers, but I do believe that I lived that out in that moment where I knew what my role was in the semi and the final, and I played that role and tried to help the team as much as I could, even although I wasn't involved on the pitch. And I think that's a really important aspect of football teams, that everyone knows their role, and when they're needed to kind of play that role, that you can go and do that. And as much as I would have liked to play, I'm kind of happy to have been a part of that squad, and it was an amazing day, an amazing upset I know we were both Premier League teams, but we were playing a top Man City team who had won numerous trophies, and for us to go there, having been in the relegation zone and had a tough season, a lot of injuries, to go there and win at Wembley was an incredible day, and something that I think will always be remembered at the club.
Absolutely. And you had to retire, sadly, early, at age of 33, I think, in 2015. Was that something that you were prepared for? Did it come as a bit of a disappointment for you to retire quite young?
Yeah, it was. I felt in my when I went to Wigan, I had double hip surgery when I was 28, and at that point it was I thought my career might not be as long as I thought. But when I was younger, I thought, I'll be able to play till I'm, late 30s. I wasn't the quickest centre half, Scott, so everyone used to tell me, in your 30s you'll get better, your experience, you've not got speed anyway. But unfortunately, I never got to see those days. And yeah, retiring young was a bitter blow because I loved playing, I loved the game. But knowing what I wanted to do next in terms of coaching and being a bit of the way down the line in terms of my coaching badges and being prepared for that, I think helped me. It wasn't until when I came back from the first surgery, then when my left hip started getting pain again, and that season we won the FA Cup, that was when it was really serious, where I remember telling the physio that during the night I'm getting pain in my knee and stuff like that. Then the look on his face, I'll never forget. He was really worried. Went to the same surgeon, and yeah, he explained that he might be able to do something, but if he does, it's only going to prolong my career for a little bit. And in fact, I played 5 games, 5 kind of professional games after that. I played some pre-season games, but I only got on the pitch 5 times after that, and I then had to retire just through the pain that I was getting just training and kind of getting up every day was becoming too painful.
Did you have to consider your future life as well at that point? And if you had played on, maybe you'd be in a worse place now, if you pushed yourself?
Again, at the time, didn't think of it for 1 second, didn't even contemplate what the rest of my life would look like, didn't contemplate that there's been moments when I've been out with the kids and I've been in pain with my hip and struggling to play with them out the back and stuff. So that's something probably I should have thought of, but I think when you're a footballer, everything that you think of is about how I can be in the best shape I can be for a Saturday, and you live in a little bit of a bubble where everything else is almost irrelevant. But yeah, there's been times since my kind of football career where I've probably thought, yeah, that was maybe a little bit silly. And taking injections to train, to play, obviously has an effect and takes its toll. I had both hips replaced when I was 35, which is obviously really young to get that done, but that has given me an amazing amount of it's taken the pain away really in terms of that, and allowed me to do so many other things like golf and stuff is now pain free, whereas in my early 30s I was struggling to even play a round of golf. So I'll need that done again at some point in my life if I stay fit and healthy. They said it could last kind of 15 to 25 years now, so we'll see how they go. But at the minute they're doing well. I'm performing well in the boxes and training. I think some will say, maybe not, but yeah, they feel good at the moment.
You also ended your career having made 55 caps for your country as well, and some great memories there.
Yes, big disappointment of never playing in a major final. That was something I always wanted to do, and obviously Scotland have done that since, and to see players doing that is great to see as a Scotland supporter, but it's something one kind of box that I didn't tick. I'd have loved to have done that, but we gave it everything we had. We beat France twice in one campaign and still didn't qualify, so I think that just shows our kind of hard luck stories of those years. And Michael McBride was physio for all that time, so we can maybe even blame him as well.
And I think when you finished playing, you joined Wigan as a coach, I think in February 2015 each, and then fast forward a couple of months and then suddenly you're made manager of the club as well. What was that like?
Yeah, so when I was struggling to play, Uwe Rosler was amazing with me. He gave me opportunities to watch training, to go and sit in the stand and report at half time, kind of what I was seeing up in the stand. And then I signed a new contract as like a player coach, where I'd done some work in the academy and helped with the first team as well, which was great to get that early education. And then that by the end of that season I had became the manager because results were poor. Malky Mackay came in for a short spell, and then after that I became the manager at a really young age, nowhere near ready. I seen Jack Wilshere talking about this week and what Mikel Arteta had said to him, and yeah, I think that's very true. When you get the job, I don't think you're ever ready, but you have to just go for it and do what you can. And I was really fortunate at Wigan. I had brilliant staff, people who I'd known for a long time, and Graham Barrow, my assistant, was a massive help in that period to guide me and to mentor me and to give me the experience that I was missing at that time.
You're really thrown in the deep end as well. There wasn't enough time, obviously, to save the club that season, but were given the opportunity to bring them back into the Championship, which you did at the first hurdle. I mean, you see this happen now to teams, and they can free fall through the leagues. But how did you manage to like galvanise the squad you had and make improvements and get them ready to go again?
I signed a young whippersnapper
I knew that was
midfield player
coming.
who's still playing. I signed Perks. He was my first signing, and like I said, Graham Barrow was a huge help at that time because I hadn't coached first team players. I'd coached a lot of younger players. I hadn't actually taken a game in terms of picked a team, put a team out in the pitch. So for the club to give me that responsibility was amazing. I think the big thing for me was I understood the DNA of the football club. I understood what was needed to get the club going again. So that helped. Like I said, good staff, good people round about me really helped. And ultimately good players really helped me, and Perks and so many other players. We had top players. Yannick Wilshere we signed, who was young, hungry, really quick, dynamic player. Will Grigg was literally on fire that season, and the famous song that came from that. It was a kind of brilliant time to be a manager and to coach that team. For me, it was probably the wrong way around. I got that too young, and the job felt easy because the players were so good. And I've found, obviously, since then that it's really difficult. But it was an amazing season, and one which I look back on with so many amazing memories.
And after leaving Wigan, you obviously had spells at Partick Thistle and Chesterfield. I think we can describe them as kind of more turbulent and difficult times for you as the manager. What did you learn from those experiences, would you say?
How long are we walking for here, Scott? What did I learn? I learned that the job isn't easy. I would say the biggest thing I learned was that you need good people round about you. That would be the one thing that I've taken, that I don't think you can do this job on your own. I think you need good staff, good people, honesty around about you to help you through the good and bad moments. I think you need good players. That's a big part of the job in terms of recruitment, making sure you get the right players and good players into the club. And again, like I said about my playing career, I think the difficult experiences and the failures are ultimately what make you. I think when you kind of go through those moments and you try and look at yourself and look internally and try and learn from those moments, then that's when you're going to improve and get better. So as much as they were difficult, they were hard at the time, I'm glad that I had them, because I think it makes me a better manager and it makes me a better person now.
And how do you kind of pick yourself up and dust yourself off and get ready to go back going again after, you know, those experiences? Because I can imagine they must be quite tough, you know, to bounce back from.
They're really tough. I think because they're so public. I think a lot of people probably lose their job every single day, but in football they're very public. Your name goes across Sky Sports News in the yellow breaking news, and your kids find out about it, and you know, everyone in your family obviously see it, and it can be really difficult. I remember at Wigan, the sports psychologist that I had, who's now at Liverpool, Lee Richardson, who was a manager himself for Chesterfield, he said to me, it almost feels like a death in the family, and you have to like mourn for a period, and then you can start to analyse, you know, what went right, what went wrong, and what you can do better next time. And I thought he was being a bit dramatic at the time, if I'm being honest, and I said, I think that's a bit strong. But I can see now what he meant by it. I think it is probably a little bit strong, but there is a period you have to go through where you just have to not overthink anything, let it almost sink in, and then when your mind is free and clear, then you have to be critical of yourself and say, you know, what areas and what parts of the job did I not do well? Could I have done better? What parts do I need to learn for next time, that when it is going wrong I can maybe make better decisions? So like I said, as long as you internally look at yourself and say, like, I'm going to improve from this, I'm going to try and learn from the mistakes, then I think they can only be good experiences.
In October 2022, Matt Taylor departs Exeter City and the job becomes available. What was it that stood out to you when you saw that there was a vacancy here? Yeah, a number of things really. It was actually Justin Quick was actually asked by someone like who they would advise to take the job, and they put my name to him, and then I actually got in touch with Justin. He was the first person I'd spoke to at Exeter City. It probably should have put me off, but it didn't. But no, I've got a lot to thank Justin for. And when I looked at the club, I think when you're out of work as a manager, when any job comes up, you look at it and you see the kind of pros and cons of the job. But the biggest pull for me at Exeter City was the time that they give managers. To have two managers in the last 16 years, I think was unique. And then also to look at the younger players and the developmental aspect to the team. It's always been something at all the clubs before. I had gave academy players debuts, I'd gave young players opportunities, and it was something that really excited me to have, you know, an academy that was flourishing and giving players opportunities, and to come to a club like that where I felt like I could get time and use all the lessons I'd learned from previous clubs to help me, then it was a really big opportunity. I'm not sure we've ever spoken about actually, but what was the interview process like as well? And what's an interview process like for a manager? Because I'm sure it's a little different to when, you know, we get a job at a football club.
Yeah, and it's different at every football club as well. I think each have their own kind of processes. At Exeter, the first one was at Taunton. We were in the smallest room I've ever seen, meeting room I've ever seen in Taunton, and there was, I need to get this right, there was Nick Hawker, Jeremy Tipper, Marcus, Nicky Perryman from HR was in there, and Taggy, and I had to squeeze in there as well. So there wasn't much room in that first
nowhere to hide in there.
Small meeting room in Taunton, but I was really impressed by the people, had a really good conversation, spoke about many different aspects of football, of motivation, of, you know, like leadership, of my career to date and my experiences. and then was fortunate enough to get asked back for a second interview where we must have put more into the budget because we had a bigger room in the what's it called, the hotel just down the bottom of town near the meeting house. I know the one you mean,
yeah.
So we had another second interview in there where I had to go into more detail of, you know, how I wanted the squad to play, where I felt the strengths and weaknesses were in the squad, and again I got a really good feeling from the people, and got offered the job after that.
And the day it was announced and your first day at the club, what was that like? Obviously you come into an environment with, you know, a decent new training facility as well on the way. And
it wasn't decent then, Scott.
No,
it was still
being built, wasn't it, at the time? And
I had seen there was I think you guys had put out just a drone kind of footage of the new building, so I'd seen the kind of potential of what was going to be there. And then when I'd been for the interview, I went a run in the morning and ran around the stadium and got a feel, because I'd never been to Exeter, I'd never been to the stadium, so I wanted to kind of see that and get a feel for the whole city, not just the football club. But yeah, when you come down, there's an excitement. I watched the Fleetwood game. It was Kev won his last game against Fleetwood, which was brilliant. I'd spoke to Kev on the phone, and then came down on that Sunday ready for work on the Monday morning.
Yeah, so obviously clubs supporter owned, which is completely different to anything that you'd experienced in your career, playing career, managing career. I mean, how have you managed to deal with the kind of the benefits and the difficulties of that?
Yeah, I think the benefits are the community, the feeling you get in the stadium. I think when we get SGP full, some of the nights we've had, I think of Nottingham Forest last season, Luton, my Barnsley game in my first season and a night game, Middlesbrough was an amazing occasion. So we've had some really special nights, and I think that's because the supporters feel a real connection with the football club because they are part of it. It obviously comes with huge challenges the further up the football pyramid you go, because of the finance and the investment that's coming into football now. But for me, it's only been positive things so far. I think it's challenging, and I think we all have to, you know, continually fight that challenge and push to make it even better. But for me, it's been a really good experience so far.
We've had a few difficult spells in that time, but I think, you know, you said the club gives managers time, and I think the supporters are quite welcome into that as well. I think you've had, you know, pretty good support in that time as well. So is that something that's maybe been a bit different from what you've experienced at other clubs in your career as well?
It has, yeah. I feel like at other clubs, when those bad moments came, which comes for everyone, then I was kind of, that was it. I was kind of shown the door. But I was really thankful. In my first full season in particular, I think the run we went on was really difficult, and that was when the club, you know, were true to their word, and the people at the top stood firm and said, you know, we believe in this. We're going to back myself and the staff in January and the team and make some improvements, and we did that, and we finished the season incredibly strong. So yeah, look, I think in football there's always difficult moments, and for me that came in that first season, and we managed to get through it together.
I think just to finish off as well, I think the 24th of October will be officially your third anniversary as Exeter City manager as well. What is it that's kept you here? What's made it special? What is it you love so much about this football club?
The media team, I have to say that, Scott.
It's mainly Zambia,
although
right?
Everyone's leaving. What has kept me here? Yeah, I think the challenge has kept me here. I think this club is continually progressing, this club is continually moving forward. That is challenging, like I said, under the supporter model that we have in a football climate where everyone coming into the game has loads of money from overseas and is investing all the time. The League One is growing at a really incredible rate in terms of the finances, and that challenge every year is really difficult, but it's something I enjoy. I love working with the players, I love the staff, I love the environment we've created at the Cliff Hill training ground, and it's a joy to go in every day and work.
Brilliant. Well, I think you need to get home and watch us play West Brom now, don't you? So I better let you go.
I do, yeah.
But thanks for your time.
Thank you.